Welcome to our intermediate Canva class that is hosted by Arrow Title Services, but also sponsored by the Martin County Realtors of the Treasure Coast. We are very excited to have this class, and if you guys are watching this, then you guys are watching the replay, and we are happy that you guys are here to watch this replay and hope that it is helpful. If you have any other questions, please feel free to leave a comment and we will make sure that we get back to you and help you guys out. If you need any one-on-one assistance from me, you can always feel free to reach out to me, Lucie Mcguire with Arrow Title Services, and my contact information is in the description of the video below. Hope you guys enjoy the class, and just note that this is a live class that we had done and it's just a recording of the class that we did. So if you are part of the class or if you missed the class, then you're able to see exactly what we went over in the class. Again, you can always reach out to me if you have any questions. Thanks so much, guys. Also, feel free to check out any of the other classes that we have on our YouTube channel here, and we hope that you find them helpful as well. Feel free to subscribe to get more content that we always have uploaded every single week. Thanks so much. Enjoy. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining today on this Friday, the first Friday of the year. Happy New Year to 2021. I am really excited for this class. I know a few of you guys were in the class beforehand for the Canva Basics class that we did with MCRTC, like I think a month and a half ago. And a lot of you guys are really excited about this class. So this class is going to be a little bit more in depth with Canva. But last time, you guys can always watch that replay as well to the Canva Basics if you didn't get to watch it previously. That is on our YouTube channel for Arrow Title Services. We have all of our classes that we post on there as well as other informational videos. But this class will also be on there, and we are gonna take a little bit of a different approach today. Usually I do like a lot more power slides or slide show presentation type of presentation, but I wanted to get a little bit more in depth with it and make sure that I'm answering your guys' questions like when you guys are in there. So we're going to go over some of the aspects within Canva. I have a couple of slides here, and then we're going to go into actual Canva website. And then I'm going to take some suggestions. So think about some suggestions on things that you kind of want me to build, and we're going to build them together so that you can kind of see the problems or the things that you're going to run into and ask your questions accordingly there. If you guys have any questions throughout this class, feel free to throw it in the chat and ask me, or you can even unmute yourself and ask me right then and there in case I miss it in the chat. But I'm monitoring the if you raise your hand and the chat, so I'm here if you have any questions. So this intermediate Canva class is brought to you by Arrow Title Services, which is who I work for. I know a few of you already, so it's good to see some new faces as well in here. Well, not see you guys, but see your names, because everybody doesn't have their video on today. But and then it's also hosted by MCRTC, which we really appreciate their partnership with them. Hi, Sarah. I see you just joined. Hi. I was just you didn't miss anything yet. I just was kind of doing an intro and everything and saying that the kind of direction that I'm going to take in this, but so you haven't missed anything yet.
Good. Thank you.
My pleasure. All right, so we are going to move on. My name is Lucie Mcguire. I am the Business Development Officer for Arrow Title Services, and I'm also a Martin County native. So I was born and raised in Jensen Beach, and I'm going to mute you just so there's no feedback. But if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself so that I can hear you, or you can put it in the chat. So, all right. But yeah, I'm the Business Development Officer for Arrow Title Services, and born and raised in Martin County, born and raised in Jensen Beach to be specific, went to all of the schools, Jensen Beach High School, all of that. So, and since COVID, I've really sharpened my skills with social media. I was already very involved with social media, but I have done a lot of live videos, just really getting engaged with it to see, because that's where everybody's eyes are right now. So that's why Canva is such a huge tool to be able to utilize during this time, because that's where everybody's eyes are, is that social media platform. And Canva has a lot of tools for you guys to be able to utilize, and they make graphic design easy. And yeah, I've just pretty much delved into it and had a lot of fun with it. And I have a quote up here that I say a lot, is the one thing in life that is constant is change. And it's so true. I mean, I think if we learned anything from 2020 is that change is inevitable and that things are going to come and you kind of just got to roll with the punches or else you get punched, right? Something like that. So it's been quite a roller coaster of a year that 2020 was, but looking forward to all that 2021 has to offer and all the things it can do with it. So I think Canva makes your life easier, hands down, has made my life so easy. I use it so many times a day, probably 4 or 5 times a day. I am on it, like doing something, whether it be a new idea, et cetera, et cetera. It's great, just a great tool. Honestly, just Canva it, like that says right there. So I know that this is a lot of something that a lot of people have been trying to get into and just learn a little bit more about. Really quick, before I go over kind of the Canva tools that we're going to be going over today, go ahead and put in the chat, do you guys have the free version or the paid version? Curious to know. Paid, good. Good, paid. Oh, nice. Oh, look at that. I like that. My last class in the Canva Basics, everybody pretty much had free. I see one free, Roberta. There are so many cool tools that come with the paid version. I honestly, like, it's the best $12 or $13 a month that I spend, hands down. So it's good to see that a lot of people have the paid version on here, because a lot of what I'm going to go over is going to have that paid version aspect to it. So yeah, if you're still in the free version and you want to still navigate around it, absolutely do that until you're comfortable. But yeah, so the tools that we're going to be going over today, I'm going to, as I was kind of mentioning earlier, I'm going to run this a little bit differently. We're going to go through navigating the templates that they have, the custom dimensions and resizing, the utilizing the photo and elements that are within there. There's a million and one tools within Canva. Honestly, I could speak all day about it. Removing those backgrounds, downloading options and the transparent backgrounds that you can utilize, and knowing, truly, I feel like the key to learning and knowing how to best use Canva is knowing the layers of your artwork and like how those layers are relating to each other. So I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach this time, and we're going to, most of my presentations are that presentation style, but we're going to do an example, a few examples, and kind of work through them together so that if you guys have questions along the way, you can be like, oh, wait, how is that done? How is that? Or maybe things that you guys have run into specifically yourselves, so that we can make sure that you're getting the most from this class and that you guys can take away as much as possible. And you'll also be able to rewatch it as well. So those are the Canva tools that we're going to be going over. Canva is easier on computers, in my opinion. There's a lot that you can do on the computer, and I think it just lays it out a lot better. It's easier to navigate, but I will say there is a Canva app for your phone. So if you don't have the Canva app already, make sure that you guys download that as well, because it's really quick and easy. Like if you're making something on the computer and then you're like, okay, I got to walk away from this, it automatically saves, but you can then go to your phone and download it to your phone and, let's say, directly post it to Instagram from your phone, like download it and post it to your Instagram or your Facebook or whatever. So it's great that they have the option on the phone. And I will say that the phone options and the layout on the phone, you're able to do a lot more on the phone now than you were just a month ago. So they are consistently adding to that and making that platform easy. But essentially this whole platform is just to make graphic design a little bit easier for everyone. So, all right, so we're going to get into using Canva, and I'm going to share. This presentation was actually made on Canva too, so as you guys can see, so that's great as well. All right, so we're going to go to the home page here. So we are on the home page of Canva, and again, I do have the paid version, but a lot of you guys have probably seen this. There is a million and one aspects that you can go ahead and see within here. So for the basics that it's going to recommend to you up here is anything that you're working with. And if you guys start utilizing different things, it'll start recommending different things to you based on what you use. But you can see here, Instagram posts, Facebook posts. You can just scroll down here and it'll even give you categories: posters, Instagram stories, flyers, presentations, animated social media posts, like the mini videos. And then even going into Zoom backgrounds is an option that they've added. Honestly, you can find so many different tools on here, and utilizing, you can take any of these and just make them your own. That's the power in it, is they give you all of these templates to work with, or you can make it from scratch if you get good enough. I feel like making from scratch can be definitely kind of difficult. So navigating these templates, you can just navigate them from your home screen, or if you're looking for something specific, you can go to the templates tab up here, see all of the social media and kind of like the most used things that from each of the aspects that they have. So even if you click on the templates aspect here, you're able to go into here and see a little bit more. Now, if you create a design and you just want to do it from scratch, one of the things I said I was going to go over, that those custom dimensions, which is a feature of the paid version. When you click on custom, so first of all, if you click on create design in this corner over here, it's going to give you all these options, and it automatically puts you with the most specific pixel that's going to work best for that, what you're using. Now, if you have a custom dimension, sometimes I've had a couple of aspects where I needed a graphic and I needed a specific dimension. They gave it to me and I needed that specific dimension for that. So you can go ahead and put that width and height in there. You can do pixel, inches, if it's like something you're printing, millimeters, centimeters, etc. So that's a really great option to have. And you can also, let's say you're working on a specific thing itself, you can actually go in that as well and change it while you're working on it if you need to change it again. Now, while I go into one of these, does anybody have a suggestion that they want me to start off with on a template? Did any of the templates that I kind of showed you, did anything catch their eye that they wanted me to kind of work with first? No? Okay. So then I'm just going to start with something basic. I'll start with, I want to make a poster. All right, so let's go. There's actually and let me just say there's the template, so you can search the template. So you can even look up real estate and it will bring up all of these different aspects and qualities. So if you go to all categories, you can look at all the categories, or you can go click down here and look for poster. So you said you want to make a poster, but we're in real estate, right? So you can go ahead and pick from these different aspects and kind of pick the one that you like the most. So let's say we're going to click on this one. Click use this template. And then it just brings us straight into the Canva editing aspect. So the whole resizing that I was just talking about with the custom dimensions, like let's say you started off with a poster and then you click resize over here, which is again another feature of only paid. You can resize it to whatever you want. Let's say you want to resize it to a Facebook post, you can click on this. And you can either make this one, like if you're done with you don't want to do the poster anymore and you've decided you want to make it a Facebook post, you can just resize this image. Or you can copy this image and resize it, and it will bring you to another file where you're resizing that and everything. So, and it's separated, so you still have your poster available in that sizing. So there's a lot of features. I know that when I read over, I want to make a sign for the new buyer to hold for a picture. Okay, so you want to make a sign for the new buyer to hold for a picture. Let's see. So you want it to be like just like a regular sheet of paper, like that's what they're sending, a welcome home type of thing. Okay. So I would almost recommend doing something maybe a little, not poster wise, maybe more long ways, which I can go ahead and resize this to be that. I can actually just go ahead and to show you guys. So I'm just going to resize it. And you see how when I just resized it right there, it just changed what I was working on. I didn't want to make a new one. So I just made it long ways here. Now, what's great about here is you can upload your own photos, or you can go to their photos right here, and you can search for whatever photo you want. Obviously, if you're trying to do a poster for a picture of their home, let's say, so let's say you're doing a house, and I don't have a picture of a house right now, but you guys, let's say that this is their house. Right? So you can click on these when it's highlighted around in blue. That's when you're selecting that image, but you see how you can kind of hover over and select something else as well. Now, if I'm selecting this picture, if you right click on any picture or any piece that you're trying to work with, you can either copy it, paste it, send it to the back, replace the background, which is something that you really definitely want to do when you're utilizing these types of things. So if, for instance, if I'm trying to make it their background, so I would place the background and it will throw it to the back right there. And then what was right here is already here. Or let's say I don't want it in the background. I can detach the image from the background, just right clicking again. Let's say I want to put this in, again, this is a template. So as you guys see here, there's these 2 photos from a house. I can go ahead and drag and drop this into one of those aspects there. So these are called, they're elements, they're like photo elements, which if I go into over here, you can see the elements tab right here, and you can choose from, you can search, or you can choose from the lines, the shapes, the frames. This is like a frame for a photo. So if you specifically want a frame, you can click and see the frames, the different types of frames they have. And this is where you're going to be able to input a photo into this frame. So if I even wanted to like add this in here, and that's going to showcase that it's a frame, and I put a photo into that frame right there, it shows you guys like what that looks like. And if I could even change the background color of this, I'm selecting the background here. I can do whatever I want with that. Now, if you're trying to make a sign for the new buyer to hold for a picture to say welcome home, you can take it as far as you want. Like, let's say you wanted to just say welcome home. Do you just want it to say welcome home? Do you want it to have the picture of the home? Like, tell me kind of how complicated you're trying to get with that. Because you can, another aspect here is you want to go to the text, which I go over all of these different aspects in the basics, but just to run down all of the different aspects along here where you can go to different styles, the elements, text, the different styles that you can do. All right, so Stephanie says she wants to just have the text and then with their logo at the bottom. So let's say I wanted to delete this whole thing. I just clicked on it and pressed the backspace button, or you can even click on it and go to delete. Now, again, if you're using a template, you can utilize a template. And oh, so she wants to make it square, so I'm going to make it square. I'm going to resize it. All right, design is now square. Good, Stephanie? Now, I'm going to here, you see all of these items here. I'm actually just going to make this a normal thing. This is what was in the template before, but for what she wants to do, we kind of changed our aspect in what we're doing here. As you can see here, you can select multiple things, and let's say I just want to get rid of all of this. So I can just go ahead and delete this, and all of that will be gone. So now we have a blue background. Let's say that we're going to add text. So we're on the text button here. You can add your own text and change the text color itself, or you can go to the font combinations. When you click on the photos, do you get to all the photos? So pictures on your computer. Yes, so when you go to upload, you can click upload media, and then you can select your device. And then you can go and you can search throughout your computer to get to the photos that you need. And then you can upload it into Canva and it'll show up right here. You'll be able to input those in. Yep, you're welcome. So let's say we're going to put welcome home on this, and you can do a bunch of font combinations. So let's say you want to do something you know, that we already have here. We can even, let's do this one. So I can click on this and you can see in the bottom how it says Pro. I can make this bigger. Let me even put this on a white background. Maybe a black background. And so this is something that's already going to have different aspects to it in the sense of it's kind of already pieced together. So you see how this is showing up together? These are some of the things that you might run into issues with when you're using Canva, because if you're using something that's already put together, there might be some layering to it that is going to change like what you can work with. Now this is grouped together. So if for any reason you wanted to ungroup this, like you could go ahead and click on this. You see how this is selecting the beach. And I can say welcome. And then I can select on the please home. Now I don't really like how that looks. You can't really tell that it's like saying welcome home. I feel like it's a little muddled. So let's say I don't even like this and I wanted to use something else. But actually before I do that, let's say that I didn't like how close these were, but these are grouped together. You can go to up to the corner over here where it says ungroup, and then you click ungroup, and you see how you can group them together or you can ungroup them. So now I can select them individually and they won't be working together rather than how they were before, where they were already pieced together. So the grouping aspect is something that really gets a lot of people, and you can even create your own grouping. Is that a pro feature? So the ungrouping shouldn't be a pro feature, I don't believe. I've had the pro version for a long time, but there are little things where you're able, that shouldn't be one of them. I know the transparency and such like that, I believe is. So for instance, if I wanted to take this home and I wanted to make this transparency, I can make it higher or lower, whatever it might be. Now, Stephanie said that she wanted to put herself, her logo at the bottom. Now, I have my logo available, so I'm going to pull that up. And so I select the logo. You can see right now the one behind it. So I'm going to make my logo smaller, which I just took from the corner over here to make it smaller. And then you can put it in the corner. Now, one of the pro features that you may want to be utilizing is the removing the background. I'm actually gonna, I don't like how black this is. It doesn't, feels harsh on the eyes. All right. So one of the aspects that I would recommend for you guys is like obviously branding what you're using to yourself, right? So let's say you have a headshot and you want to implement your headshot. Obviously I have mine available at my fingertips here, but you see how I have a background right here. So I have a background on my photo. One of the pro features, it's really nice, is that you can go and I can click on, you see how mine is selected. I go to effects up here. Click on effects. I click on background remover. And then voila, my background is removed. So there's my background. I can say, you know, if this was my real estate logo, if I was a realtor, I would be, you know, would have it here. And then you can say you're welcome home. You can say, I don't know if you're trying to create something, Stephanie, that is just specifically for your buyers. So if you wanted to make it so it was something that they could hold with their name on it, like welcome home Stacy or whatever it might be, you can always add that. I want to change this text really quick, guys. I want to show you what this is also something that you could post on social media too, like this font. Sometimes it's all about just like working with what they have and seeing what you like most. Here's an issue that you're going to run into. So you see how it brought it down and it's covering over. Now, this is because this is a grouped together. And I can either make this smaller because it's at 262 font. I can either make this 200, let's say 200 font. I can make that smaller. That's one way to get past that. Or I can ungroup it. And when I ungroup it, I could have made it smaller this way too. So sometimes it's about the ungrouping of the aspect itself. So those are some of the ways in the text that could get really confusing. Now, what I want to talk about is kind of the elements of the layout, of the knowing the layers of your artwork. So let's say I want to keep my face here. So this logo, you see how this is now, this logo is going behind me. It is layered behind me. I can go ahead, I have this logo selected. I can go ahead and right click on this and I can do what's called bringing it forward or bring it to the front. If I bring it to the front, it's going to bring it to the front of everything that I've got layered right there. So you can see that it just brought it in front of this piece, my face. So that's one thing that you want to keep in mind as well. Now, also, if I needed to layer it over this, like it could be over this as well because I brought it to the front. But that's one aspect that when you're layering over your items, the more stuff that you add, the more it's going to be here. You know what? Let me actually go to, let's go another template here. So you guys got the removing backgrounds and the down. Okay, so I'm going to go to a template that I already have over here. So my designs. So this is a good example. I'm going to use this. We just started a local spotlight. Every Friday, we're doing a local spotlight of a local business. And today's guest is Wendy. This is a great aspect. You can see how many layers there are. There's the background itself. We have each of our logos. You can see that there is this aspect. This is a separate aspect that is brought as to highlight what I'm trying to say right here with this local spotlight, which is on top of it. And then I've added this text box, which is just a regular text box, and then each of our names down here. But you can see that our photos are layered on top of them as well, on top of this back splash of the brand, or not the brand, but you know what I'm talking about, the thing behind the local hotspot, that little brush paint that is there, which is something that you can always be looking for in the elements. If you look up like a brush stroke, you can find these here and you can input text on top of it. So those are some of like the creative aspects you got to think of, like what type of background are you looking for? I think the background is like the first step that you want to take in thinking, okay, what is it that you want in your background? Especially if it's a social media piece that you're doing, you can kind of do something complicated. If you're trying to do something simple, like trying to make that welcome home type of sign, you're most likely going to have a plain background and then just have the text features on there. So it can get a little bit more complicated with the layers of the artwork, especially if you're using them on social media, because you can put more aspects or information on there that you're not going to be printing, if that makes sense. Do people kind of see what I'm talking about with this whole layered aspect? And then you can also see here where, for instance, if I wanted to bring this to the position it to the back, I can always put it to the back. I can put it to the back of that. I could put it back to the front. Or when you do forward, when you click, are the spotlights part of the background? Yes. So what's great about the spotlights is that I just went to photos and I said spotlight. And look at all of these photos. And I just implemented those into the background. I'm gonna, before I mess with this anymore, I'm actually gonna copy this, which actually, let me show you how I did that. So let's say you're working on something and you kind of like what it looks like right now. And you're like, I don't know if I really wanna make changes to it because I might not like the changes. You can go up here and you can click duplicate page. If you click duplicate page here, it's gonna duplicate exactly what you have, and you're able to keep this aspect without messing with it. And then you can kind of mess around with the second one and see if you like it better and delete the other one later if you don't like it. So I just clicked on this photo. I can replace the background. And you can kind of see right there that makes it look a whole lot different. I kind of even like that. But sometimes it's about messing with these different aspects that you've put together. This is just a text box. This is just a text box. These are just logos implemented into here. These are just text boxes, but it's all about how you position it to make it a viable thing for you to use. So using that background, you want to see what your background is because you want to see what is going to work out. If you have a logo, let's say you have a black logo, a white logo, and a blue logo, you don't know which one you're going to use because you don't know how it's going to be represented on the background. If I'm using a black background, I'm not going to use my black logo, right? So it's all about, I would start with your background, what you're going to choose for your background. What are you trying to accomplish? If you're trying to accomplish like a post per se, let's go back to this. I'm going to copy, or actually I'm just going to add a new page. So when I click add a page down here, is that a banner behind the words local spotlight? So no, it's not a banner. It's actually what's called a brush stroke or whatever. Now you could use banners as well. Like let's say you go to elements, because photos are going to show you photos that are like a full photo. You can make them backgrounds, or you can even take a photo and like take away the background of it. Like if you wanted something from that specific photo, but that's where you're going to kind of be looking for your backgrounds and such. Elements is where you're going to find things that they're like little pieces that you can add into your artwork and kind of to brush it up or make it whatever. So I looked up brush strokes, and you can kind of put that brush stroke there. Now, let's say I wanted to get rid of this brush stroke, and add a new one. Like I could select this one, and I can make this bigger. Now, this is going to show you the layers right here. You see how right now it's showing in front of the spotlight, but obviously I want it to go more towards the back, but I don't want it to go to the background. So I would right click on this and I would say send to back right here. And then you see how it brought the local hot spotlight above. Now, if there was a little bit more layers to this, I might have to click that again. I might need to click it one more time, bring back, so that brings it back one more layer in your artwork. So I can make this local hot spotlight smaller. I can bring it over, and you can see that now it's showcasing that local spotlight, but it's just an element that's put behind it. Does that make sense, Tracy? How come some images are missing the white box to narrow it? They're not. So if you mean to make it smaller?
No, I mean to make it skinny. Like, see how you're missing in the middle? So the long, there's no little white, tiny little dot to make it skinny. You can only go wide. So the whole thing is wide. See how you have it on the, like as the rectangle?
Yeah.
No, not the words, the black stroke. So before you had a skinny stroke, and it drives me nuts when sometimes I put banners and I want a skinny banner, but they're missing the little white dot on the rectangle line part, the long line. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, so if this was skinnier, you wanted this to be skinnier?
Yeah, kind of like your last one. You can only widen that so the whole thing is fat and wide instead of making it long and narrow.
So if you're using a template that has something like that and you want something different, you can go ahead and search for it. So like, for instance, if you don't like this big splotchy one, you can go ahead and backspace that and put here's a skinnier one. Here's a skinnier one that I can utilize.
I had used banners. I never heard of brush strokes. So I would have been playing around with banners and it was driving me nuts. But even that, the whole thing is all huge. You can't make it long and skinny if you wanted it.
Yeah, so let's say if we're looking up banner, so we can look up banner.
Rectangle. I wanted like a long, rectangle.
Like these ones, like these types of banners.
Yep. So if you pick one, I had to make them fat, I think. There were some that they all had, so like the whole, so I wanted it long and skinny and the whole thing gets fat.
Yeah, it gets big. Well, it also depends on the like how big you want your lettering to be. So is this supposed to be, which I'll put this to the back, send to back. My words are white here, so let me make them a different color. But if you don't like the look of that, which you can go ahead and rotate this as well. If you see this little rotate button down here, you can rotate if you wanted to make it fit into that banner. Now, it really depends on what you're looking for. So if you want something a little bit skinnier and you utilize something, but you realize that that's going to be too fat, you don't like how thick that is, you can go ahead and just mess with some different banners and see what's going to work best for you. Because it's not going to make it skinnier, because you have to think of these as like set images. Now you can change the colors. What's nice about changing the colors or using elements is that you can usually change the color. So here, if I go up to the top, I've selected this banner, I can go to black over here and change this maybe to pink. You can see that that's the outlining. And maybe if I wanted the main color to be black or whatever it might be, or gray, I can change that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep. I had done that before. Yeah, that was cool.
Okay. So then so if you end up not finding, have you like looked through the banners and everything and you still couldn't find one that you liked per se?
Rectangle banners. I wanted just a long, skinny rectangle. I ended up doing something. I can't remember what, but yeah.
Sometimes that works, honestly, or rectangle.
I still just didn't know why they couldn't put the little dot on the top, because then when you made it, I wanted it long and skinny across the bottom or something like, and then I just couldn't get it. The whole thing was getting fat. And I said, why are they missing that little white dot on the length part? Because that would help me. But some of them have, a lot of images have the little white dot in the middle, but see, that one doesn't. It just has the corners. And not
I know what you're talking about. So for instance, if I go to a photo here, these dots.
Yep, that makes it skinny.
Yes,
but not everything has those.
But if you were to do that, that's cropping. Think of that as cropping. If this had that, you'd be cropping the banner and you wouldn't be able to see the full banner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to do that with something. An element's going to be a little bit different than that. Now, if you want to, a little trick that I do with that, if I need something that's going to, like, let's say I want it to be a background to this local spotlight, because let's say I need that color to be, I want that color to be that dark blue, but look, it's getting lost in the background. Sometimes you can go to photos and you can say like white, like let's say you want white as your background or something. And then you can just get a plain white image here, and then you can crop it to be exactly what you want. Does that kind of help you?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So, and then, but what you have to realize is that you can't change the color of that. Like you have to look up the color that you're looking for. If you look up black, then you can look up like just a black background, and you can edit it like that. You can crop it, but you can't change it. You can't edit it. You can't like mess with it. So that's one way around that, but I get what you're talking about. But at the same time, with the elements, you wouldn't get the same aspect of it if you did that. If it looked like a specific type of banner. Now you could try the brush strokes and everything, and you can kind of see if like that might work better for you, or even just using the skinnier ones and then making them bigger to see kind of what works. It's really what you have to do is you have to play around with it. So like just playing around, throwing different things in there and seeing what you like and what kind of fits best into what you're trying to create. Sometimes images will distort with that feature. With which feature, Jerry? With the cropping feature? How come? And then Stephanie says, can you change the colors in the brush strokes? The reason the dot is not available on some images. Yeah, she was talking about this cropping, being able to crop an image. It's not going to show up on the elements when you're utilizing elements. Actually, that's not 100% true. There are some elements where it will let you crop, but not all of them. It just depends on what type of image it is. Like that one doesn't have it, but a majority of them actually don't, from what I've noticed. But again, it's just cropping the image. But again, it's just messing around with it and such. I think you just showed how to change colors. I did, Stephanie. So if there's ever an option to change the colors on something, and when you click on it, the colors options will come up here. So you can always change those colors. So that's kind of like the layers that go behind a photo. Now, one aspect with the changing, like if you are using a lot of layers in a photo, like let's say, I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna make this something else. All right. I'm gonna position again, put it backwards so that it's behind us. But, this is a good example. Look, I made this pretty big, and you see how it's not behind our faces yet, but it's behind the local spotlight. So that's good. I want it behind the spotlight, but I don't want it behind our faces. So I can click position again for that and put it backwards again. And you see how it's chosen me to put it behind because I'm on that layer, but it hasn't put it behind Wendy. So I can again click backwards again, and it will put it behind her. So that's kind of what I mean by those layers. Like there's different layers in the photo, and you kind of have to see where that needs to be in its layer. Now, let's say you want this full thing. You want the local spotlight, and you want the background of the local spotlight to be moving together. Like you don't want to keep moving them together. Like you like where they are in the same section together. You can go ahead and click outside of it. You just left click. And let's say you see how it's selected the two together. Now I can go ahead and unclick, and I can move these together now. Temporarily, this won't be permanent. And then when I click off of it, I double clicked the background. So it was like selecting the background. It will still be separated. Or if I want to keep this consistent and I don't want this to move, I can actually do the same thing, select them both, and I can do the whole grouping that we were talking about earlier. So I can group them together, and then now they're together. And it went in front of our face again, so I would have to put it backwards. So that's how you can group something that you've put together, not from something that's already grouped. And then you can also, you know, change the transparency of this if you want, like if you don't want it to be as like in your face, which is, you know, can make like a different type of look for it all. And you can even lock this. Like, let's say I don't want this to move at all, and I can go ahead and click lock, and it will lock it in place here, so you can't even move it. So that's a nice feature. If you like keep seeing that you're moving something, but you don't want to keep moving it, then you can lock it in place, and then you can unlock it if you need to move it again. If you're getting a little confused with those layers. Can you see the layers anywhere? No, not particularly. So it's not going to like show you exactly where the layers are, but you can see them. Like you can see the elements that you have in a photo. Now, if you, no, it's not like Photoshop in that sense. Now you can go to, what's the thing over here? Now you can go to the file up here, and you can actually go to like, you can show rulers and you can show guides, or you can show the margins. Like, so if you want to see here, this margin is showing you like what's going to get, what area it is to keep things into, like if you're printing it on something, or just to make sure that it's not cut off. Because Canva has an option where you can actually like print through their aspect, or like they have different items that you can print onto if you wanted to utilize them for print. So this is kind of that little margin that they have there. Or you can show like the guide. Where is it? Did it not select? Or the rulers. So the rulers here show you like kind of where everything is. But when you're utilizing these aspects as well, you can see where the middle is. If you go slow enough, like that pink line that's showing up is showing you where the middle of that artwork is. So it's always good to keep an eye on that, just so that you know where things are in your photo. You obviously want things to be centered. So yeah, you can't see the layers, like it's not as advanced as Photoshop in that sense. No. But you can see where something is in trend. Even if I just move this across, you can see that the Treasure Coast is in front of me. Our names are, but I'm in front of the local spotlight. You can kind of see them that way, but I'm in front of Wendy too. If that makes sense. So is there another idea that you guys kind of want me to put together? I know that there was one, let's see, it was actually a pretty good one. Someone wanted, last class, they wanted to do a address, bedroom, list price, etc. Okay, so let's go to okay, so I just went to the home, like to the templates page and everything, and I just looked up real estate. So you can see what you like and you can make it your own. As you can see here, let's see, you want something for the home. Let's see what I like here. When searching templates, how can we weed out the free versus premium options for those who are not paying yet? So it should show up for you. It should show up like if you have a free version, you should be able to see which templates. It'll let you use any template. It will let you use templates. Now, when you're editing the templates and everything, there might be some free aspects in there, which they'll show up like with the little lines through them and everything, which I've been seeing a lot of people like posting with that in it. It's like, it doesn't, don't do that. If you have the free version and you're using a photo that has like the lines through it, don't do that. But you can search through the items here with a filter. So like once you're actually into the template itself, you can search here and click availability, and you can click free. So you can apply the filters. So these are the free photos that you can use that they're offering to you. Not just one home, a chart listing out saying 10 homes with that info. So are you, what's your goal for this, Tracy? Are you trying to post it to social media? Is it something for your own? Those are photos, not templates. It shows an S with 3,000 options. I have to hover over each one. So then it's showing you templates where they are, when you search for a template, it's showing you that you have to pay for them. Is that correct, Jerry? Because I never had an issue. Shows the premium and free together. I don't think there's a way to filter the templates. I've never seen that filter. Maybe you can do. Yeah, you can. Okay, so you can search free templates. Does it work when you do that, Jerry? It's still pulling up premium. I've never seen a filter option. I mean, granted, at the end of the day, you can see money on the icons you pulled up. Oh, here. We'll see, but I see what you mean. I've never seen it is, obviously it's a website. It is a website that's going to eventually like want people to be a member. So whereas they give you that option when you're actually in the thing itself, like if you're looking up photos and such, you can make those free and premium filters, but I've never seen it in the template section. And that's probably because they eventually want to show you like what you can get when you're getting premium. I mean, at the end of the day, they're trying to sell people. So I don't think that they've created that option. I've never seen a filter for the templates. Let's see. Custom dimensions. But what I will say is that, custom dimensions. Yeah, I've never seen it on there. I'm sorry, Jerry. You can always try to, if you see something that is premium, you can always try to recreate it though. That's what I would try to do if you can kind of, I use the templates really for inspiration to get a starting point. But sometimes like when I start with the template, it like literally doesn't even look like the template after I'm done with it. Like it's kind of already something else, but it's just for that aspect, because I'm trying to see here. Even when I go to Instagram, like these are the Instagram templates. A lot of them are saying free. But sorry about that, Jerry. All right. I'm going to do one more example. So, okay, sorry, back to Tracy. You said you were trying to do a chart to list out saying 10 homes with that info. Now, what are you trying to use that chart for? Is that for your own?
Do a newsletter. You would do a newsletter, or you would target a neighborhood and you would just say the solds for the year. So you would have, you'd list their addresses. The next column would have their bedroom and bathrooms. The next column would have a pool, yes or no. The next column would say the list price, the sold price, the date it sold. So it's all columns, and it would just be one box chart. And I did it myself, and it took forever, and I used spacebar a million times, and I don't even think my columns are perfectly straight. So I was wondering if there's a way to make it
a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah.
Let's see, I'm trying to think of, sometimes it's about getting creative with looking through their templates. And seeing, because I think something as specific as that, they're probably not going to have that type of template.
I just made it from scratch. I just took a box and started typing, but is there a way to make columns and text? It was all text. So it's really just a text box.
So you want to make it look a little bit better per se, right?
Yeah, or just if I have to make a change, then I had to readjust the whole row. And so
did you do it in Canva, or was it in another platform?
Yeah. No, I did it in Canva. I just made a text box, and I was making columns in the box with the words, but there was no way to structure the column.
So, okay. All right. So let's say we are going to make this, resize this as a poster. Is that how large would the sheet be? How long do you want it to be, like a paper size?
8 by 11.
8 by 11. All right. So let's just do that. 8. Or just kidding. We want that to be inches. 8 by 11. Into template. So someone had recommended, what if she created it in Excel and copied it into a template? So you can do that. Like, let's say you have an Excel spreadsheet of all of the information that you have. What I would recommend doing is, what's nice about the templates is you can make your own templates. So you guys saw that spotlight that I have. Now I can utilize this, and all I'm going to have to do is, once I've created this, I can then just change Wendy and the logo 1, 2, 3 aspects moving forward, right? So I'm making my own template. So yes, you're going to have to put some work into it in the beginning, but then once it's set up, then you're going to be able to change that template that you've created. So let's say you put, Tracy, are you putting your headshot and all of your information at the bottom?
Yeah, you could. I mean, so it's a newsletter page, and I have other stuff on it, but the first top of the page is just the big text box that says solds for the year.
Okay.
It was just the text boxes, but if I can do the Excel thing, does that work easy? Is that, but then you can't make changes once it's in there probably, huh?
Well, you can, so what you can do is, if you do an Excel spreadsheet of all of the different things that you have, what I would do is, if I were you, I would create a template for yourself. So let's say what I was talking about, let's see, let's go to the elements. So remember how I was saying with the elements, you can add in photos and you can change all the photos, right? So let's say you want to do this one. And remember how I said you can lock things into place. So once you've kind of, and you can copy this and then an easier way to copy is Control-C, just to like keep copying rather than, oh, I have to copy it first. Hold on. Why is it not copying? That's really weird. Okay, whatever. I'll just click on it again. It's fine. So, and you can see here this, the lines that it's showing. If I line it up to the edge, it'll show me kind of where it's evening out to itself. But these little things you can, why is this not copying? I'm really confused as to why it's not copying. Oh, I gotta paste. Haha, I'm silly. I'm silly. There we go. Gotta paste it in there. So this is where I would create like so that they're all the same size. And then you could, select all of these, move them up a little bit. You could even make these a little bit smaller if you wanted them to be. You want 10 homes, you said, Stacy, or Tracy?
Well, yeah, because usually for the whole year in a neighborhood, say 10 homes, that would, but it just seems weird. Those are pictures, right?
These are picture elements. So let's say you go to photos and here's a house. This is your house. Let's say you just uploaded a photo of a house, right? And you want to put this into this template right there.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you're looking for?
No, not at all. Text. So like the address, 54 Smith Lane.
Oh, so you don't want pictures of the houses at all?
No. Just the words, just text.
But weren't you saying that it kind of just looked like a bunch of text and that's kind of what you're trying to get away from?
No. So I want to do a big text box and have columns, and each column is the first column's the address, list the words of the address, 1, 2, 3, Apple Avenue. The next column says the heading says bedroom and bathroom, so you put 1/2. Then the next column's pool is the heading, and then you write yes or no. Maybe another agent can explain it better than I can.
No, I just haven't. I'm such a visual person, so like for me to see like a visual of what you're talking about.
That's okay. I don't want to make this all about me. I can email you afterwards and
yeah,
we can talk.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can talk about it. I mean, if you're just trying to do something like that, yeah, you could do it into Excel, and then you could just copy and paste it into there, and it would probably make it a lot easier. So like, let's say there's let me bring something up on my Excel really quick. Hold on. All right. So I'm pulling up something on my Excel, and I'm going to show you how it copies into it. If it would like to open. All right, there we go. All right, so I'm copying this from Excel. And then let's say I want to create a text box. And then I'm pasting into there. So I just pasted these from an Excel spreadsheet into here.
Oh, okay. Now, if you need
now you could edit these, like if I wanted to make this, whatever it is, like 500, I could do it like that.
Oh, and you can lock that column. So if you did another, that would have been helpful.
And then this won't move. But then but when you lock it, you can't even edit it.
Yeah. But
sometimes locking it can get it out of your way. So like, you don't have to worry about like when I'm moving this, it, maybe I accidentally click on that and now I'm moving that. And sometimes it can get a lot. So like, if you want to lock things so that like while you're moving other things, it's not getting in your way.
Yeah. So you just copied and pasted right from Excel?
Yeah, I copied and pasted this into from Excel, from my Excel spreadsheet.
Great. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Are there any other, so I'm sorry, I kind of like took this in a whole other direction because I thought you were trying to do like solds like and show, because I know that some agents have done like the solds. You'd be like, oh, just sold. Like, let's say you just sold a listing in their neighborhood and you said like the just sold posters or postcards out there. Like that would be, maybe something that you were trying. That's kind of where my head was at. Oh, okay. So is there anything that anyone wants me to create really quickly for them? Because if you guys give me an idea, I can usually put it together pretty quickly if you guys have something that, or do you guys feel like you grab something from this that you guys didn't know before? took a little bit of a different approach with this because I wanted to make sure that you guys could kind of see like the different intricate parts of it. And in the basics, I kind of go over everywhere where you're going to find things and such. A sold postcard. Yeah, let's do that. Sold. So again, I just went to the templates and the just sold. So, I like all of these ones. Let's say you wanted to do this one. I have an idea for this one. So you click on this. This is, you can implement your own house into this listing, or into like your own listing into this. For example, this is, so, okay, this is like exactly one of the things I was just talking about with the whole postcards, because this is one side and that's the other. But let's say, you know, I want to replace the house here with this house. And you can see here that that's one of those elements where I can just implement a new, how do you put moving elements in? How do you post that to Facebook or Instagram? You mean like a video, Stephanie? Like if you have a moving element. So if you have a, before I go forward with this, if you have a moving element, like let's say a sticker like this or something, just random, then you're going to want to download this as a video so that they can actually see that movement happening. Because if you download, if you go to your downloads here, you can, it's going to suggest to you automatically what they suggested you to download it as. So it's showing an MP4 video because I have the moving piece in there. Or if I just wanted to download a PNG or a PDF or a PDF print, if I plan to print it, I would recommend the PDF print if you ever need a vector image, but that's the paid version only, which just shows you with this little crown next to it. But what's nice is, you know, you can download it in so many different types of file types, which can be utilized in different ways. The PNG is the high quality image that you probably want to use more often, but if you do have something moving in that element, or if you're even doing like a little video, which, ooh, if you guys have a short video of your property, or even if you just have like a little moving piece, let me show you something. There's videos, there's a videos tab down here. You can implement your own, or even if you have something like, for instance, like this, I can go ahead and put this to the background here. And when I download this, like let's say you had a little video of the house that you're trying to sell. If it was that crazy house or whatever that is, that's not even a house, it's like a little thing. But you could put it in there if it was like a quick, like 10 seconds, and you could say just sold, and you can move this just sold. Now, what I want to do here is if I put this in the middle. Okay, so this is grouped together. So I'm going to ungroup this, but I want to make this background transparent a little bit so you can still see what's behind it, but you can see the letters just a little bit better. You guys see that? But if that was like a better video of a house, here's a house. So for instance, this kind of shows you, like if it was the just sold, it would be washed out. Oh, this video just has little palm trees moving or whatever. But like if you had your own video, like you could implement it into here and play just sold and then showcase that to your audience. And you can go ahead and change this text to be, you know, let's say it was 1900 Southeast Blackwell Drive or something like that, 14 Lucie, random address. You can put the price, and you can go ahead and you can make this bigger if you wanted it to. You could even make this take up the background if you wanted to. If you didn't like this element being in here, you could just delete that and then make the video replace the background. And let's say you even did this. I made this a little bit bigger. Ooh, not that. This. Who was it? Someone who had mentioned about making it thicker or wider. This was kind of that idea that I was giving you earlier with the banners and such. So if you're utilizing this and you want it to be a little bit bigger so that you can showcase the price. It's messing with the colors. None of these videos that I'm putting in here are moving the way that I want them to move, but you guys kind of get what I'm talking about there. So you can change these fonts to be whatever you want them to if you don't like what they had on there. And then someone says, should you resize a post to post on social media? Yes, you should. So let's say that this is whatever size it is. I can go ahead and resize this. And sometimes all you have to do is make a small adjustment to be able to make it applicable for social media. So like, let's say you're posting it. Now, what I will say, there's a Facebook post and there's an Instagram post, like two separate categories. You don't need to resize both the Facebook and the Instagram post. Facebook owns Instagram. So they're very compatible with each other. So you guys can go ahead and like, let's say we want to make this a Facebook post. You can either copy this, like if you want to keep this formatting the way that it is, or you can just resize this. And for this one, I wouldn't really have to do just anything because it just cut off the sides. But if I wanted to, I could, like if I wanted to change, look, if I double click on the background here, I can move this over and make it, that's the piece of the background I want shown. And yeah, so that's kind of like one of the aspects that you can mess around with as well.